to interview Biden one-on-one and ask him if he plans to pack the Supreme Court with more justices if he wins. Here was that exchange.
Sir, I've got to ask you about packing the courts. And I know that you said yesterday you aren't going to answer the question until after the election. But this is the number one thing that I've been asked about from viewers in the past couple of days.
Well, you've been asked by the viewers who are probably Republicans who don't want me continuing to talk about what they're doing to the court right now.
Well, sir, don't the voters deserve to know?
No, they don't disagree. I'm not going to play his game. He'd love me to talk about, and I've already said something on packing court.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Opinion or Opportunity. I am your host, Don Gringo. So today we're going to go over a couple of things real quick, though. Obviously, up on the screen here today, we have an article from the Dan Bongino show saying a website where it says Biden says that he will not announce position on packing the courts until after the election. Of course, he's not going to. Right. So his quote down there is, listen, quote, you know, my opinion of the court packing when the election is over. Now, look, I know it's a great question and I don't blame you all for asking. But, you know, the moment I answer that question, the headline in every one of your newspapers will be about that. Well, you know what? You've been promising to produce a list of several African-American women that you would put to the court. You've been saying that for a year. Something happens, Amy Coney Barrett's going through the process right now. The one thing you should be doing is showing your base that, guess what? This is the better option. But I just can't see that happening because he's refusing to do it, which really makes me question now really what he's doing. I've said he's not running realistically for president. He'll get in office, he'll leave. I've been saying that for a while now on pretty much every show that we've discussed. I've proven it with different things that this man, he doesn't stand on anything but Trump bad and coronavirus. That's it. And this is an issue. This should be an issue for every Democrat, whether you're centrist or progressive. The man is refusing to give you a motivating factor, a motivating snidbit, an option to sit there and say, this is the better choice. You need to go to the polls. You need to support me. So if something happens, we can get people like this on the bench. And this guy's not doing it. It's a piss poor strategy. This is Biden strategy. This is, I'm not going to stand anywhere. I'm just going to stand on coronavirus bad, Trump bad. You don't like Trump, vote for me. You ain't black if you don't vote for me. That's his attitude. That's what he said. If you ain't black if you don't vote for me. I mean, honestly, this guy, I just don't get it. You know, if you want to be a unifier, show people what your decisions you're going to make. If you're going to be a president for Republicans and Democrats, then you need to turn around and start showing us where you stand and stop hiding. Stop hiding behind sound bites and headlines. Give us some substance. It's really hard for an independent like me to look at this guy and take him seriously. At least, like I've said in the past, Trump, he's a man of action. Whether those actions are right or wrong, and he gets his hand slapped quite a lot, if not more than not, at least he does something. This guy has done nothing. And it's funny, he's running on, if you're a minority, vote for me, but his mentor was Robert Byrd, a high-ranking KKK member. He even eulogized the guy, okay? He's had so many gaffes about, on the African-American, predators and this, that. He imprisoned more African-American people than any other president and vice president. This is just ridiculous. When I just can't get around why he's not standing up. And this is probably my biggest frustration with the Democratic Party right now, outside of Nancy Pelosi. That's got to be the truth. Is his lack of being able to stand up for any issue other than coronavirus and Trump bad. But we need to move on. So everybody knows the Hunter Biden scandal, right? And he's got a couple of them. But the Biden family has had a lot of Hunter Bidens in their family, a lot of situations that were the same. So this is a Breitbart article, and I think it's from January 21st of this year. So I'm going to read some of this article to you, and we need to really, think about this. So Schweitzer said that in the case of Joe Biden, for example, we show how 5 of his family members cashed in while he was vice president, who was paying them, what they were being paid for, and the lack of any skill or background that they had in that field. Let me say that again. What they were being paid for, the lack of any skill or background they had in that field. The fact that they were scoring these sweetheart deals, they didn't get them before he was vice president. They didn't get them after he was vice president. And the policy position that Joe Biden took at the time that his family members were getting paid. Schweitzer continued, we really use financial records, court documents, in one case, criminal case documents in this book from 7 different countries. It took a lot of work. We have research team of 12. They do a terrific job, and it's something that that very few people are doing these days because of the cost, because of the time and the level of detail that's involved. We think it's absolutely necessary to follow the money and cover these stories that nobody else either has the inclination or the resources to cover. So mainstream media ain't covering this because they want Joe in office, but we're going to really get into this. So everyone knows Schweitzer remarked that in his book that we have certainly had new material on Hunter Biden in the book, including the fact that he had joint venture business set up that got $3 million in taxpayer money in the form of a grant, right? Schweitzer went on to, in addition, Hunter, we have Joe Biden, brother James, who landed a lucrative job in the construction business. Essentially what happened is a guy named Kevin Justice, a longtime Biden family friend, in November of 2010 went and visited the White House and met with Joe Biden's people in Joe Biden's office. He started a company called Hillstone International, a construction company. 3 weeks after that, the meeting in the White House, he announced that James Biden, Joe Biden's brother, was going to join as an executive vice president. Schweitzer continued, what stands out in this, of course, is that James Biden has no background in construction. Sound familiar? Guy's 47 years in politics. You don't think he's shady, right? Trump's the only shady person on that stage. And in the bio of the company released on him, all they noted was the fact that he was comfortable in the corridors of power and his brother was the vice president of the United States. Woohoo. This is Joe, right? A few months after he joins the firm, lo and behold, this new company lands a contract to build 100,000 homes in Iraq from a federal government. They get a bunch of other contracts as well. So there you go. Paid for politics. That was one brother. Let's get into Joe Biden's other brother, Frank. Frank, Joe Biden's other brother, starts doing deals in Costa Rica, explains Schweitzer. Joe Biden, as vice president, visits Costa Rica in the spring of 2009, and suddenly Frank, who has no background in energy, here we are with energy again, and no background in major real estate development projects, starts getting all these deals, meetings, photos, letters, and support from the Costa Rican government for these projects. There you go, Joe. That's Joe taking care of his family right there. That's paid for politics right there. You don't think that that was free, right? So we continue on. I mean, it just gets to be crazy. So he says you have people who go into politics like Trump, for example, and Mike Bloomberg on the Democratic side who have built successful business before they went into politics. Schweitzer noted. What you have in the Biden is a kind of an opposite. They actually start businesses once Joe becomes vice president. Businesses that have no background in. They really have no business even trying to do deals except for the fact that he's vice president. And you have that with James and you have that with Frank. You've got that with Joe Biden's sister, Valerie. So now his sister, who was involved in his campaign, ran his presidential campaigns, and put $2 million from those campaigns into her own company. So she's out there getting Joe money, and she takes $2.5 million to start up her own company. There you go, Joe. That's your Joe Biden. Gotta love Joe. Then you've got another situation involving Joe Biden's daughter, Ashley, who married a guy named Howard Klein. And Howard Klein was involved in this company, a startup called Startup Health that really had no business plan. They had no website. They were just weeks off the ground, and lo and behold, they're ushered off into the Oval Office because of Joe Biden. They meet with Barack Obama. They highlight this on their website. They get invited to a sort of showcase at these major federal government conferences on healthcare policy. Joe actually goes and briefs the investors and the participants with this company in closed-door briefings while he's vice president. And the chief medical officer of this company just happens to be married to his daughter, Ashley Biden. So you got Ashley, you got his sister, you got both brothers, and you got Hunter. How many more times do we need to see this, people, before you just realize this is another shit show election where they give us two bad candidates and you have to side between the worst? Do you want the guy who's been rich going in, or do you want the people stealing the money on the way out? No, stealing the money in on the way out. Any way you want to look at it. But this is ridiculous. This is the people they offer us, and they want us to choose and sit there and say, this is the most qualified people to run the country. People, it's 25 days from election. I know you may not agree with me, and you may think I'm picking on the Bidens. Well, unfortunately, at this point, he's got 47 years in. He's done nothing except for crap like this, and the media is just covering for him. What do you expect other people to do, independents like me, who see this unfair coverage? I'm going to vote for, I'm a human. I'm a red-blooded American. Now, let me tell you something. We like underdogs. A lot of people like underdogs. We like our superstars. There's nothing wrong with our superstars. We love our superstars. But we always strive to see an underdog overcome all obstacles and win. And in this case, Joe Biden's not an underdog. Joe Biden took advantage of the system, took advantage of his office, just like all politicians do, and he abused it well beyond Hunter. And all he ever says is, Hunter's done nothing wrong, his family's done nothing wrong. No, Joe, actually, you did something wrong. This is wrong. And the taxpayers, and this happened at our expense because you were in office when this happened, and we elected you, and you did this on our dime, our time. People need to really consider who they're voting for and why. Sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. And if you didn't know this, you need to get to know the people you're voting for. You got to see the actual record and the actual stuff behind it. So if you want to put out Trump and say he had his scandals, yes, but Joe Biden has had its own. And even his running mate called him out on being a racist and a sexual predator because she believed his female victim, but yet she's standing beside him, which only makes her a hypocrite and a loser. And people expect independents like me to vote for that. That's garbage. Again, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm getting a little worked up. I appreciate all the love and support again. As always, on every video, I try to show some appreciation and acknowledge it. We're doing better every day. Please continue. If you like what I'm doing, if you like the episodes, subscribe, follow, and more importantly, please share. Please share. Let's continue the upward momentum. Let's continue this growth in this community. And let's just make it bigger and better for everyone. If I don't get the chance to see you again, have a great weekend.